Welcome to Dental Success Beyond Chairside, the podcast that is dedicated to revolutionising the way dental professionals succeed beyond the dental chair. Join us for a unique blend of insightful interviews with industry experts and valuable tidbits of information to help you thrive in your dental specialist practice. In each 20-minute episode, we'll delve into a variety of topics, including HR, marketing, innovative techniques and systems, and AI, to help you transform your practice and unlock its full potential. Whether you're a dentist, specialist, or oral health therapist looking to enhance your practice, this podcast is your go-to resource for professional, personal, and profitable success. Get ready to go beyond the dental chair and discover what lies ahead in your practice journey with Dental Success Beyond Chairside. Do your patients say yes to treatment, or do you hear, "I'll think about it," more often than you'd like? Most dentists don't struggle clinically, they struggle to communicate value in a way patients actually understand, without sounding salesy, without jargon, and without losing confidence when fees come up. Today, I'm joined by Ashley Latter, the selling coach and the creator of the legendary Ethical Sales and Communication program, which has trained tens of thousands of dental professionals worldwide since 1997. Ashley is also the author of multiple books, including his latest, The Perfect Dental Consultation: The 8 Essential Steps in Increasing Treatment Plan Acceptance. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you being here.
Yes, I'm delighted to be here. Thanks for
Thank
having me.
you. I'm so glad that you're able to share your expertise with us. So to start, Ashley, can you share your journey and then talk us through the simple changes clinicians can make tomorrow to increase case acceptance, avoid the common communication mistakes that cost treatment plans, and discuss fees with more confidence?
Sure. This is my 34th year as a business trainer, sales trainer. But I started working in the dental world, as you rightly, about 1997, 1996. And I had a couple of dentists take a sales training course with me in my hometown here of Manchester. I got to meet these dentists the night before, and I asked them, "Why are you taking this course?" It was interesting what they told me. They said clinically they were great. They could place implants, the crowns. But what they couldn't do was actually sell it. What they couldn't do was get patient committed to the treatment. They would often talk very technical. They'd give patients large treatment plans and tell them to go home and think about it. They were not great at discussing fees. So if the fee was, let's say, $1,000, by the time it came out of the mouth, it was about $900. They constantly reduced fees all the time. And they took part in this course, and as they left on the second day, I asked them both how was it, and they both put the thumbs up and said they really enjoyed it. And I said, "Do you mind if I give you a ring in a few weeks' time just to see how the course went?" And they both said yes. A few weeks later, I'm lying on my couch, thinking, I wonder how those dentists got on. Should I ring them? Should I not? Should I ring them? But I did. I picked the phone up, and basically those 2 phone calls changed my life, because they both told me that treatment plan acceptance had increased. More patients were saying yes. They weren't discounting anymore. But the main thing they told me was, for the first time ever, they were delivering the dentistry they always wanted to do. That was the key. They both said to me that my course was the missing link. They told their friends, and a few months later, I walked into a room with 26 dentists in a hotel in Oxford, in south of England. And I delivered my first ever. We called it the two-day ethical sales and communication course. We had to use the word sales very small and communication sort of big. I followed all these 26 dentists up. I got home and I ran them up every night. How's it going? What's working? I started to see that I was onto something, that, this program was really needed, that it was changing dentists' lives. They were all saying the same things. Their books were full. They weren't discounting. Patients were saying yes. When's your next course? So really, I would say for the first couple of years, it was a very slow burner. I did about maybe 2 or 3 courses a year. And then I decided to really go all in with dentistry. I stopped doing anything else and I just went all in. And I started to write this little newsletter that went out originally with full of tips. I kept speaking to dentists, and that's really how the journey started. And if you sort of fast forward today, as you rightly said, we're probably close on nearly 40,000 dentists and team members through the 2-day course now in the last 26 years or so. And I've delivered it all over the world. I'm actually coming to Australia in 2 weeks to deliver the courses in Sydney and Melbourne. I go to America 3 or 4 times a year, all over the UK. I've got 4 other people that help me deliver the courses, and we deliver reception, leadership. I've got an entrepreneur program. And as you rightly said, I've written 4 books. It's just all because I made 2 phone calls to 2 dentists 27 years ago. And the journey's been incredible. I pinch myself every day that I still do this. And sometimes I keep thinking someone is going to find me out, but anyway, so far so good. To answer your second question, what are the common mistakes dentists make? Well, there's several really. The first thing is they don't spend enough time building rapport. I've just written my latest book is the 8 steps to a perfect consultation. And that's sort of everything I've learned of delivering nearly 38,000 hours of communication training, probably more than anyone else. But here's some of the common mistakes. And one of the common mistakes is they don't spend enough time building rapport. Rapport builds trust. And without trust, patients won't believe you or take on board your advice. So in a consultation, whether it's an existing or a new patient, you've got to spend time making a connection, getting patients to like you, to trust you. One of my favorite phrases is a client of mine, a dentist called Bill Schaefer. And Bill's the #1 dentist in the UK for placing implants. And he helps me deliver my courses now. He's taken my 2-day course 16 times. But he has a beautiful phrase. And the phrase is, when he sees a patient, if all we talked today about teeth, it would be a shame that we didn't get to know each other. I like to get to know the person behind the teeth. So please tell me a little bit about yourself. And then he spends 5 to 10 minutes just making a connection. And it builds trust. And most people love to talk about themselves. When you get patients talking about themselves on a personal level, then you build trust and it builds rapport. And patients start to like you and believe in what you've got to say. So the key lesson is building rapport. The second big mistake dentists make is they don't ask enough questions. So there are thousands and thousands of dollars sitting in your database in your patient base now. So if you've got 1,500 to 2,000 patients, 7 out of 10 want white, straight teeth. So if you ask questions and ask them if there's anything at all they'd like to change or improve about the smile, then you'll be surprised at how many patients will come back and say, I like this and I want to do that. So dentists don't ask enough questions. I run a 2-day course every single week for 40 weeks of the year. And every week I run a coaching call for the people that took the course, maybe 6-8 weeks earlier. I can tell you now, without a shadow of a doubt, we'd always get at least one dentist, if not more, saying that they asked questions to an existing patient and they gave them a shopping list of things they'd like to change. And when the dentist said, how come you never told me this before? The patient said, well, we never asked. And I didn't know it could be done. There's just lots of opportunities in your database. And all you got to do is ask questions. Because one of the biggest mistakes dentists make is that they talk about solutions to the patients without truly finding out what the patient's wants and needs are. I see this all the time. I watch consultations all the time. So dentists don't ask enough questions. They make assumptions about the patients. And I'm not saying everybody does this, I'm generalizing, but these are some of the common mistakes they make. Another big mistake dentists make is that they talk about aeroplanes and not destinations. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's imagine I'm a travel agent and you come to me and say, Ashley, I want to go on holiday. And I say, well, where would you like to go? And you say, well, I don't care. As long as it's got the 4 S's, I want the sun, sea, sand, and sangria. And I say, okay, that's what you want. That's the destination. That's where you want to go. And I check my computer and I come back to you, Michelle, and say, I've got a great destination for you. It's got sun, sea, sand, and sangria. Now, just before I show you where you're going, I just want to give you a quick 15-minute presentation on the aeroplane to get you there. Then I start talking about the technicalities of the aeroplane. how it's made, what the wing capacity is, engine size, you wouldn't really be interested. You just want to see where you're going. You see, what lots of dentists love to do is they don't ask enough questions to find out what the destination is, but then they start talking about aeroplanes. When you talk about aeroplanes, you confuse patients, and patients get bored very quickly. When you confuse them, they end up not doing anything. That's where they say things like, I need to go home and think about it. You got to focus on the destination and not talking about aeroplanes. Is this okay? Do you want to keep going?
Yeah, no, I have to say I love that destination and plane analogy, and I've started using that, and it is just amazing. When I listened to you in that webinar, it resonated so much, and I can't believe that I haven't actually heard any of your public speaking before because it's
Yeah.
amazing. Oh, yes, no, continue. Loving it, loving it.
Okay. So, a big common mistake is dentists reduce the fees. It's a big problem all over the world, mainly the UK, I would say, but mainly but it's common everywhere, state in America as well. The fee, if it's $900, most dentists reduce it by 100 or 50 or whatever. But they do that 3 or 4 times a day. And if they work 4 days a week, 12, 15 times a week, they're reducing the fees in their head. It can be up to $8, $9, $1,000 a week of reduction in fees. If you add that up over a year, it's something like $40 or $1,000. And if you've been a dentist for 10 years, then all of a sudden it's nearly $500,000. That's a big mistake. When you discount your fees in your head, only you know a discount's being given. The patients don't actually know that. I've done thousands of hours of training, and I always say to dentists, just charge the correct fee. The patients will pay. And it's amazing that they do. And another big communication mistake is dentists give large treatment plans to patients and tell them to go home and think about it. Now, I don't advocate hard closing. It's wrong. My courses, many dentists tell me that I teach dentists how to sell without selling. I teach them how to build rapport and ask questions. But if you keep telling patients to go home and think about it, that's what they do. And it's costing you thousands and thousands of dollars a week. At the end of the consultation, there's got to be some part where you have a discussion and the patients want to move forward with the treatment, and you do as well. And then you've got a win-win. The patients win because they get the treatment that's going to change their lives. You win as well because you get to deliver the treatments that you trained to do. That's a big thing that I feel like I add real value. Lots of dentists go on technical courses, but never fulfill their full potential. They never really achieve what's possible. It's all down to the communication skills. 85% of a dentist's success in a consultation will always come down to the communication skills. And 15% is product knowledge. You can, as you rightly said before, you can be the best dentist in the world, but if you can't communicate what you do in a way that gets patients excited, in a way that builds that rapport, then you'll never achieve your true success. There you go. There's 5 for you. I think I've done 5 there, so I hope that's been useful. But those are some of the common mistakes I see dentists make all the time.
You're right. The building rapport, the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, it's about asking about them so people can tell you about what they're after. The better questions, not making assumptions, and I see that all the time. I love the destination plane. That is just absolute gold. And discounting, oh, that is the biggest thing. My husband's a dentist. He used to feel sorry for people. He used to discount all the time to the point that it was just like, you are not explaining the fees. That is going to be explained by one of the treatment coordinators. I was in a consultation today with an orthodontist, and this person, she just wanted treatment to be done quickly. I listened to everything and she goes, I'll let you go away and think about it. She explained the whole plane to her. I was nearly falling asleep myself. She just said, oh no, I don't want to be too salesy. And I go, she's come to you for a second opinion. She's got a great referral. She's already looked at your website. She's gone to the socials. And we heard this a few weeks ago. It's micro yeses. They've already said yes. They've picked up the phone. You know, they're coming to you. They want something. It's not you're being salesy. They want a solution for what they're looking for.
Well, as with I'm working with a practice. We're just about to start working with them. This dentist, to give you an example, places I think it was 90 implants in a year. Now, in this practice, there's over 12,500 patients, and I think he sees something like 160 consultations to get 90 implants. Now, got to bear in mind, some of those patients will be having more than one implant. It's not 90 patients. So when we analysed his conversion rate, it was less than 50%. Now, he thought it was higher than that, but it wasn't. It was 50%. Now, here's something that's really striking, is that the patients have paid to come and see him. So they have been referred. They know the price of the implants. They've paid to see the patient. Now, I do accept that there may be a few patients that can't have the treatment because they're not suitable, but his conversion rate is about 50%. Now, it should be a lot higher. It should be well over 80% because the patients have paid to see the dentist. I think they've got skin in the game and they're committed to going ahead. Here's the other thing. If he's got 12,500 patients and there's 11 dentists work there, then they should be doing at least 300 to 400 implants because they're probably taking nearly 400, 500, 600 teeth out every year. And there's a lot of those patients that have got NHS dentures, which won't be doing what the patients want to do. There's just tons and tons and tons of opportunities. I'm starting to work with that practice. We start actually next in April when I come back from Australia, and I know it's going to make a real big difference there. So I'm really excited about working with that practice. And the other thing dentists don't understand is they don't understand buying signals. They don't listen to them. And when I go through buying signals with them on the courses, and we go through about 25 different buying signals, it just changes their lives because they miss them. Because all they're doing is they're not really listening to what the patient's saying. They're focusing too much on the treatment and how they're going to do it, but they miss all these buying signals. And buying signals are indicators that the patients want to proceed with the treatment. And you've got to listen to them because they give you lots of clues. If the first clue they say to you is, how do I pay? You've probably missed about 10. So buying signals are really important. You've got to listen very carefully to them.
Yes, and I think the scary thing, Ashley, and this is why we've got you on today, this is still so common. All of those things you said are still happening, and it's just extraordinary. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners that we haven't discussed, Ashley?
I don't know. I think, to be honest with you, I'm looking at the time here, and I think we've crammed a lot of really good information in. If I was to leave with what, and I'm biased, and we're both probably biased in this. If you're a young dentist, developing these communication skills at the start of your career is absolutely essential because the good thing is you get into the right habits. You communicate the right way right at the start of your career. Because if you don't and you leave it, then 10 years down the line, you've got so many bad habits to get out of to relearn these skills. If I was to give any piece of advice to any dentist listening to this, especially at the start of your career, develop your communication skills as quickly as you possibly can. If you go to my website, ashleylatter.com, there's 4 books there. You start learning these skills, but start taking communication skills. The other book that you've suggested, How to Win Friends and Influence People, is one of the greatest books ever written on communication. It's the 3rd biggest selling book of all time. I used to work for Dale Carnegie Training, delivering their courses. And these are so valuable resources to develop, essential, that will make you thousands and thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. But the main thing is that you get to deliver the dentistry you want to do. But most importantly, your patients want this. And it's a win-win. When your patients get their treatment, they win. And when you deliver the treatments, you win. But both parties win. You win. The patients always win more than you. If you get that, you do some cosmetic treatment to a patient, and you bring them back 3 months later after they've had the treatment and ask them how life is since they've had the treatment, they tell you amazing things, and they win. They win more than you. So if I was to give you one piece of advice, is develop these skills because they will change your life, and you'll change patients' lives as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ashley. Really appreciate you being on. For more information about Ashley, his programs and his books, please see our show notes. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it, and glad that you made that phone call all those many years ago.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Ashley. In our next episode, we'll be shifting the focus to one of the most overlooked systems in dental practice growth: recall and patient re-engagement. I'll be joined by Nosh Hands from Re-Engagement Consultants, a team with more than 50 years of combined dental experience, helping practices clean their data, reconnect with patients and strengthen recall systems that support consistent bookings. Nosh brings practical insight into what is really happening during the re-engagement process, where communication can break down and how stronger language and greater consistency can improve results. We'll be talking about what teams need to pay attention to when contacting overdue patients and why recall should never be treated as just an admin task. Thanks for listening to Dental Success Beyond Chairside. See you next time.